determination, toughness, heart, courage. When those words are used to describe a fighter in the 1970s boxing scene, there was one name that is always mentioned. Jerry Quarry was born into a blue-collar, Irish-American family and endured a grapes of wrath-like childhood growing up in Central California. His father Jack wanted his sons to be tough, teaching them the sport of boxing as soon as they could walk. After winning the National Golden Gloves heavyweight title in 1965, the 19-year-old Quarry would turn pro in May of that year. He would be matched tough from the beginning, taking on fellow prospects like Tony Doyle, Joey Orbio, and Rocky Marciano protege, Tony Alonji. Quarry was still rising in the rankings, but would lose his undefeated record when his team put him in with the crafty veteran, Eddie Machen.
Eddie Machen had too much experience for Quarry. He was laughing at him by the 5th round and almost stopped him in the 10th. But Quarry learned a lesson. His loss could be blamed not only on his lack of experience, but his lack of conditioning.
Quarry changed trainers after the Machen fight, installing West Coast legend Teddy Bentham as his new coach. And he would need Bentham's strategies for his next fight, a bout against former heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson.
Professional who has lost but one in a very busy career, my friend and buddy, Jerry Quarry.
Jerry Quarry, 193.
Jerry Quarry for tonight's fight weighs in at an even 193 pounds. All right, boxing fans, stepping onto the scale, the great former champion. He held the title 2 times from New York, a very likable Floyd Patterson.
Floyd Patterson, 194.
All right, fans, there you have it from Clayton Fry. Floyd Patterson weighing in at an even 194 pounds, 1 pound heavier than his young opponent, Jerry Quarry.
Let's get at the scale and weigh him, Jerry. What do you want to say? Weigh him, Joe.
Wait, how about that? Yeah, let's see what you're
Look out.
What's your bantamweight?
Yeah. 113.
113?
Just couldn't get loose that other pound to make a flyweight.
Hey, man, you and shoot. Okay. Good luck, fellas.
Patterson was installed as a 7-5 favorite, but Quarry was unmoved, predicting a knockout. Quarry lived up to his prediction in the early going, aggressively challenging Patterson and scoring 2 knockdowns in the second round. But the wily ex-champion battled back. He cut Quarry up in the 4th, floored him in the 7th, causing Quarry to twist his ankle in the fall. The fight was scored a draw, and the decision was booed by the pro-Quarry crowd. The two would rematch 4 months later, and Quarry would gain the majority decision. But many in the viewing audience thought Patterson had done enough to win.
Jerry, you hear? Quite frankly, some of the crowd reaction, not favorable. Did you think you won this fight in your own mind?
Yes, I did. I built up such an early lead. He just couldn't overtake it, that's all.
Do you agree that you began to tire along about the 7th and 8th round?
Yes, I did. He kept the pace, fought pretty well, and I got a little tired about the middle of the ninth.
All right, I wonder as we talk, Jerry, if you look up at our camera. What were your best blows as you decked him in the 2nd and the 4th, as you saw it?
Both of them right hand. Both right hand.
Now, you told me before the fight that Patterson didn't hurt you in the last fight. Did he hurt you
He
tonight?
hurt me one time this time with a right hand, overhand right hand.
Excuse me, 1 second, Jerry. Floyd! Ernie, would you bring Floyd here? I just want to break in because the 2-time former world heavyweight champion, it seems to me, deserves the opportunity to be seen. Floyd, come on over here, Jerry. Come to my other side. Here is Floyd Patterson. Floyd, look up at our camera. What is your feeling about this decision?
Well, I naturally feel a bit, distressed, I guess. But Jerry was a hard opponent. He put up a very hard fight. I didn't count the punches that I landed, nor did I count the punches he landed. I guess the referees and judges were just in their decision.
I think the fair question, and we've only got a few seconds left, is, and it has to be asked, is it quits this time?
I'll know my answer tomorrow, Harold.
Good luck to you. As the fans boo and some cheer, Floyd Patterson shakes hands with Jerry Quarry. And that's the story from the ring.
Boxing writers were unimpressed with Quarry's work ethic. One journalist wrote that Jerry's idea of getting ready for a fight was a shave and a haircut. Another said that he fought like a drugstore cowboy and should be arrested for loitering.
Writers and fans wanted a new Marciano. They'd criticize all of his heir apparents viciously, with Quarry getting the brunt of it.
There would be an 8-man tournament for the WBA heavyweight title now vacated by Muhammad Ali. Quarry was entered into the tourney and went to his fight with Thad Spencer as a 7-5 underdog.
They're looking at Jerry Quarry in his corner, and Quarry is bleeding from the mouth. Flipped late in the round by Spencer, the blood began to flow. First sign of physical damage against Jerry Quarry. That round probably to be given to Thad Spencer. Now, let's leave Jerry Quarry and move over, if we can, to take a look at Willie Ketchum working on Thad Spencer, who is a tired fighter, but who came on somewhat in that round, probably to win it. Ketchum giving Spencer instructions. Quite frankly, he's got to tell him he's got to knock him out, it would seem at this point. The crowd knows that the fight has only 45 seconds to go. Cries are out of all proportion, quite frankly, to what's happening in the ring in this round. Accorded a technical knockout victory over Thad Spencer. 2 minutes, 57 seconds of the final round. Now let's get Jerry Quarry over here. Jerry Quarry, please. Jerry is, as you can see on your screen, wishing luck to Thad Spencer. Jerry, I would have to say that if you proved anything today, you proved that you could go 12 rounds.
I tell you I could. I just fought a smart fight and it paid off, that's all.
It was a satisfying victory for Quarry. He had proved a lot of his critiques wrong. He was much improved from the Patterson fight and took special pleasure in taking out Spencer with a big right cross, silencing all of his critics who thought that all he had was a left hook.
The fight set the stage for Quarry's first shot at the title. He entered the ring as a 7-5 favorite against Jimmy Ellis. But Quarry had broken the lower vertebrae of his back during a play wrestling session with one of his brothers. This, he claimed, hampered his movement against Ellis.
Immediately this fight ends, this reporter will jump into the ring, await the decision, interview the winner, and possibly time commence the loser.
The fight was close, but Ellis got the nod.
It was a huge disappointment for Quarry. The loss started the pattern for his entire career. He would be hot one moment and cold the next.
He took 7 months off from the sport, then regrouped by taking out a few journeymen before accepting a crossroads fight with top contender Buster Mathis. Mathis held a 29-1 record at the time and was installed as an 11-5 favorite over Quarry, but Quarry rose to the occasion, knocking down Mathis in the second round, splitting open his trunks in the fall. Quarry would cruise to a unanimous decision victory, setting up a highly anticipated match between himself and Smokin' Joe Frazier.
What about young Jerry Quarry out here in California?
Well, Jerry looks good to me. I have no comment on Jerry, just looking good.
Quarry and Frazier had sparred before. According to Quarry's father, Jerry had gotten the best of it before Frazier's trainer yanked him out of the ring. There's no sense in them killing one another for free in the gym when a big money fight would come later on down the road.
Good right, though, by Quarry right there. Oh, a good right by Quarry, and another good right by Quarry. Frazier, when he delivers his left, drops the hand and leaves himself wide open for the right. He has always been vulnerable to this punch. Quarry is a tough kid, I'll tell you that. Quarry's face cut severely, especially the right cheekbone. You can see the cut immediately opened again by one of those Frazier lefts. The left keeps getting in there because Quarry keeps his right low. The defect he has had fatally throughout his boxing career. No bounce left to Jerry, no sprint.
The two would go toe-to-toe for 7 rounds before Quarry's right eye began swelling shut. He could no longer see the punches coming, and the fight was stopped. Quarry would return to the ring, but his heart wasn't into it after stopping Brian London.
He retired after that fight. He'd been boxing since he was 3 years old. 21 years of being punched in the head seemed like enough, but there was more to come. A lot more.
Quarry's retirement lasted all of 3 months as he was back in the ring, this time against the rugged Canadian George Chuvalo. Quarry was in control throughout, cutting Chuvalo up and closing his eye.
There's Chuvalo's face. Not too pretty a sight, but he's fighting back hard, and Quarry knows he's been in a fight.
But in the 7th, Chuvalo landed a perfect left hook, which deposited Quarry on the canvas. Quarry rose to one knee, looking to be able to beat the count whenever he wanted, but referee Zach Clayton counted him out. Quarry claimed that he didn't hear the count and lost track of it because of the crowd noise.
There's going to be a dispute over this. Quarry stayed down too long. There's going to be an argument over this. The referee, Zach Clayton, stopped the fight. And there's another fight in the ring.
Quarry was forced into rebuilding mode again and was installed as the underdog against the latest heavyweight bomber, Mac Foster. Foster was 24-0 with 24 knockouts.
Quarry was a 6-1 underdog in that fight and brought in as a fall guy to boost Foster's record. Mac Foster is largely forgotten today, but during that time period, he was being hailed as the next great heavyweight slugger. He had knocked out Sonny Liston in a sparring session, as well as a top contender in Cleveland Williams.
Quarry himself was confident. He saw that Foster was technical, too technical, and threw everything off the jab. It was an uneventful fight, but once Quarry timed Foster's rhythm, he knocked him out of the ring.
Congratulations, and I think a superb victory over a fine fighter, Matt Foster. I want to know how you feel. I'm a little tired, but he can punch like that, man. But he can. Listen, he rocked you in the 3rd round. Good right hand. Did you almost get down? No. I just shoot me just for about 1/10 of a second, that's all. You had trouble getting by his left hand, didn't you? I had trouble getting started. Yes, I know. And that was a surprise to me because we usually start right off. Well, I train differently, and I don't get loosened up till about 3 or 4 rounds. As you can see, I started coming around the post. How about his left hook? The right hand was the one that hurt. Now, I know that. That didn't have much. Jerry, you had trouble getting his guard down. How did you go about getting him to get it down? Taking left hooks in the body. In the body. Yeah. Jerry, I know you're all out of breath. No, I'm not tired. I'm just nearly exhausted. How about Joe Frazier? Would you like to fight him again? That's what I came here for tonight. Listen, I'd like to say hi to all my family watching in Southern California, my friends in Arlington, California, and every fan in the world I've got.
The victory put Quarry back on the map, setting up the stage for a bout against the comebacking Muhammad Ali. And once again, Quarry was set up as the fall guy.
Now that you've got a lot of confidence that you'll win this fight, would you like to tell me why?
Well, I think that I have an awful lot of ability, and that I think that I'm a better fighter than he is. I think that's the reason I'll beat him.
The reason I asked you was that a year ago you were talking on the lines that you might retire and that you were a bit fed up with the game because you'd just been beaten by Frazier. But things seem altogether different now, don't they, a year later? What's happened in the meantime to make you feel this way?
Well, I've grown a year older and gained a lot more experience in boxing, and I've learned how to listen.
You've learned how to listen?
Yes.
Who have you learned how to listen to?
To my trainer and the people that are doing me good.
What you mean is that in past fights you've been doing things which have been wrong?
Very definitely. I've gotten ideas in my head that I'm going to do certain things, and no matter whether they were wrong or not, I was still going to do them. And now I realize that I'm not going to win fights this way, so I listen to people that can tell me the right things to do.
Have you got an idea in your mind at this moment, the way you think the fight will go?
Oh, I have an idea, but I'm not pushing it out right now.
Because you're a little bit behind on a lot of scores, aren't you, like reach and height and so on with him? But you are younger, you've got that advantage.
I've been a little bit behind on those assets of the game most of my fights.
I was here yesterday when you had the confrontation with him at the medical inspection, and he was obviously trying to get under your skin, and I thought that maybe he succeeded. Is that
no,
so?
He didn't. The only one that did was that idiot sparring partner of his.
What was he saying to you? Not the sparring partner, I mean, but Muhammad Ali.
Oh, just typical stuff. Same things that he said to a lot of people. No big thing. Didn't bother me.
What is the one thing about Muhammad Ali's style that you think you might find the most difficulty with?
Speed. His speed.
Have you had any opportunity to see him train at all while you've been here?
I don't watch him. I don't need to. But when I watch here, I'm not going to fight him in here. I'm going to fight him in the auditorium.
I wondered whether you might have formed an opinion if he was slower than he was 3 years ago.
I haven't watched him, so I couldn't give you that answer.
In your mind's eye, when you see the fight finishing, how do you see it? Do you see it with him on the floor or what?
I see me winning it.
Ali was coming off nearly a 4-year layoff, but really showed no ring rust. Quarry was outclassed from the opening bell and really couldn't lay a glove on Ali. Ali would open a 15-stitch cut over Quarry's eye, prompting his corner to stop the fight.
Cut is bleeding profusely. And once again, left and right combination by Clay. Quarry is fighting back, but the cut has been opened. You see the timer, 15 seconds. There's the bell to end round 3. Gary Quarry going back to the corner. While his trainer, Teddy Bentham, Luke Gross, and Willie Ketchum go to work on that cut. Referee Tony Perez standing directly above Quarry's corner, watching him. And Perez is calling for the doctor. Quarry is upset about it. Got to kind of hold him back. Referee Tony Perez has signaled the fight is over, apparently because of an eye cut.
It's a terrible cut, Tom. You and I both can see it.
There's no doubt about it being a very bad cut.
Quarry's disappointment was long-lasting, but he channeled his negative energy into something positive by going on a tear for his next 6 fights. His opposition was decent, decisioning marginal contenders like Larry Middleton and Jack Bodell, calling out Ali after every victory. Quarry would get his rematch with Ali, but once again, the winds of bad luck worked against him. His younger brother, Mike, was on the undercard, taking on the power-punching Bob Foster for his light heavyweight championship. Jerry witnessed his brother's massacre firsthand.
Quarry got him down, and we're getting the count now. 8, 9, 10, and he's out. Left hook.
Seeing his brother get knocked out like that did something to Jerry mentally. He didn't go into the ring against Ali with any confidence. The thought of winning went out the window. He fought like a guy trying not to lose.
A straight-ahead brawler that he was groomed to be. Clancy made adjustments in Quarry's technique, and it all came together against Ron Lyle in Madison Square Garden.
Few gave Quarry any kind of a chance against Ron Lyle. Lyle was undefeated at 19-0, with 17 by knockout, and like Mac Foster before him, he was seen as another heavyweight juggernaut. Quarry would showcase his boxing skills, easily outscoring Lyle from the get-go. was Quarry's greatest victory and his finest showing. 1973 would prove to be the greatest year of his career, as he reeled off 2 more wins before the public began clamoring for a match between Quarry and newly crowned heavyweight champion George Foreman. Foreman would turn down $1 million in 1973, forcing Quarry to face the fearsome puncher, Ernie Shavers. Quarry showed no fear of Shavers, going straight at arguably the most powerful puncher in heavyweight history.
Shavers warned about grabbing behind the neck. Shavers back to the right at the hurt. He is hurt apparently. Talks to him. He's in Quarry's corner. He doesn't seem to know where he is.
I think they got to stop it.
The bout is over. The bout is over. The referee has stopped the contest. The winner by a knockout in the first round. Here's Jerry Quarry. Jerry, I gotta say, you look like Jack Dempsey in there. Jerry Quarry.
Hey, he's got a hard hit. I hurt both hands.
You hurt both hands. Did he hurt you?
No.
I thought he did.
He didn't hit me.
He hit you, Jerry.
Early in the win.
Jerry, come on.
Hey,
We don't want an argument
he
here.
don't have one. He didn't hit me at all, but then he just shut it
What
off.
do you think hurt him most by
Left
you?
hook.
The left hook.
Yeah.
Here's Ernie Shavers. Ernie, come on over here, huh? Here's Ernie Shavers, who must be very disappointed. Ernie, what happened?
I just got hit with a shot and never got recovered.
You got over there in the corner. You didn't seem to know what was going on.
I got hit with a good shot and couldn't recover, that's all.
You hit him a good shot.
He's a very good fighter. He hit me with a good shot. He's a very good fighter.
All right, Ernie, thank you. Good luck. Here's Gil Clancy. Gil, I got to offer you congratulations. You may even be manager of the year or something, because you've done wonders with Quarry. He's got a new zest for fighting, hasn't he?
Well, he sure has, Don. He worked real hard for this fight. We were very disappointed with the postponements, and the grind of waiting and waiting and waiting. I guess he just had to get it over with like this,
This was some win. Now, what about Foreman?
Well, we had a contract to fight George Foreman before, and he promised me on September 10th, right after Jerry knocked out Tony Doyle, he promised me he'd fight Jerry in November. I can't find him. I think George Foreman's retired.
Oh, he's there all right.
Well, why don't he fight Jerry Quarry?
The Shavers fight culminated the best year of Quarry's career. He began calling out for Ali for a third fight. Ali just said, "Doesn't that boy ever learn?" Quarry would get a close call against club fighter Joe Alexander. The knockdown would prove to be the beginning of the end for Quarry, as he was rematched with Joe Frazier in 1974.
Gil Clancy was very confident ahead of the rematch with Frazier. He thought that Frazier had slowed down considerably, and if Jerry could hit Joe in the same fashion he did in their first fight 5 years earlier, Frazier would fall at his feet.
Frazier saw deterioration in Quarry himself. He knew he wouldn't be coming up against the same fighter that he had faced 5 years earlier.
What would you tell each of these fighters if you were sending them individually into the conflict? First, Joe Frazier.
Well, it's an interesting thing. If I'm fighting a Jerry Quarry, I look to keep him off with a left hand. Make moves. Don't fall in the traps, because Jerry Quarry's a very good counterpuncher. What I would tell him to do is give him motion and slide over to the side and don't run straight in on a guy.
What would you tell Quarry?
Quarry, I would tell to box this guy. Be sure and move over and be sure and box. Now, either guy can box for my money. That's why it's such a tough fight. The guy that throws the most punches wins. Quarry's cut over his right eye.
Quarry has a light cut over the right eye.
The fight itself became another bitter replay for Quarry. Frazier had an answer for everything he did, and then some.
There's Mrs. Quarry, Charlie. Quarry seems to be gasping for breath.
Frazier was chopping him up by the 4th round. He taunted Quarry, telling him, "Well, Jerry, I'm gonna kill you."
Round almost over. They're in Quarry's corner. Quarry goes down. The round is over. He's taking the mandatory 8 count, but he's up now. Quarry has cut over both eyes. 2 minutes to go in the round. A very bad cut over the left eye by Quarry. How's Quarry? Some of the people are yelling, "Stop the fight." Stop it, Joe! Quarry to the next case. Lewis seems undecided whether or not to stop it. Quarry is game, and it's all over, I think. Yep, it's all over. I'm going up in the ring.
This would begin an epic downfall for Quarry. Still not seeing the writing on the wall, Quarry would step in the ring against longtime contender Ken Norton. Norton would simply pick up where Joe Frazier left off.
That Norton has. That one was picked off. That short right shot did score alongside the left side of Quarry's face.
Jerry's hook is not as sharp as it usually is.
Left hook by Quarry landed. He took a right to the jaw, Quarry did.
Really getting hit now. He's really getting hit. And I look very bad. Norton hit him with every one of those punches. He pinpointed every one of those punches. Quarry is in trouble.
Except above the right eye, just around the end of the eyebrow.
And the blood is inside of his eye. The blood is inside of his eye. It's hampering his vision. There's no doubt about it. He's still strong. He's fighting. Norton coming up real well. Another shot on the eye. Norton fighting a smart fight. He's in a shell. He's not getting hit with those punches as bad as it seems. What an exchange. Quarry doing all the work. Norton is the one who pinpoints the punches.
John, Norton is really taking a pounding. I don't think he can get away. If he's trying to pull an alley, he's getting bombed. About a minute and a half left to go in round number 3. Quarry with his left right eye, fighting desperately.
Quarry's afraid to finally stop because of that eye. He's pouring it on his doors and ropes. Good right hand by Norton. Hard Quarry.
After the defeat, Quarry would retire. He would dabble in singing and acting, making appearances on popular shows like Batman and I Dream of Jeannie.
She found someone to train you. Yes, Jerry? This is Major Nelson and Major Healy. Gentlemen, I would like you to meet Jerry Quarry.
Okay, One Punch, let's go to work.
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
Hit me in a bread basket.
Anyway?
Right in a bread basket.
Oh, sure.
Good fun.
I'm the greatest. I won the light heavyweight championship here in 1960. I was the best light heavyweight that ever lived. And I'm going to tell you that I'm the greatest now. I'm a heavyweight. Ain't nobody can whoop me. I'm going to whoop everybody. There's 2 men. Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Quarry, we've got some business first before we get to Victor Galindez and Richie Cates. Light heavyweight rematch. We should have some action here in Rome.
Victor Galindez and Richie Cates. Victor Galindez is the light heavyweight champion of the world, but I'm a heavyweight. He can't fight me. He couldn't whoop me. But Victor Galindez is the light heavyweight champion of the world. Going to fight Richie Cates, but he can't whoop me. I know he can't whoop me. He going to have trouble with Richie Cates.
But the call back to the boxing ring was irresistible. He was not a singer or an actor. He was a fighter. In 1977, Quarry would return against Italian Lorenzo Zanone.
62 professional fights. Here he is, Jerry Quarry, making a comeback. And Jerry, why are you doing it?
Well, for 2 reasons, Chris. One, I saw Norton and Bobick on May 11th of this year, and I watched Norton destroy Bobick in 58 seconds, and I thought, Jesus, making the kind of money he's making for 58 seconds, I'd like to get a piece of it. And then secondly, I saw Ali fight Alfredo Evangelista and go 15 rounds with him, and proved to me that those guys can fight 15 rounds with Ali, then maybe I've got a shot at doing it again.
Jerry, here in the city of action, Las Vegas, money. That had a lot to do with it, didn't it?
Has an awful lot to do with it. The kind of money they're making now is, well, let's put it this way, it's a lot of money. I fought about 18 men rated in the top 10 at the time that I fought them. I never made the money they're making now, so I feel I've earned the right to make the kind of bread that the people are pushing out now.
And personal damage in the way of further cuts to the eyes or face doesn't bother you at all?
No, in all sincerity, there's only a few fights that I have really gotten cut. I got cut with the first Ali fight. I got cut with Joe Frazier, and I got cut with Ken Norton. Those were major fights, so because of the major fights, people think I'm a bleeder. Other than that, I haven't been cut that often.
In other words, there's more money boxing as a heavyweight than being a television commentator, right?
Well, that's without a doubt true, but my career, I hope, ends up to be a television commentator. I'm trying to put the two of them together, being a commentator and a boxer, and I'm going to do boxing for a couple more years, get a piece of the change and see if I can take one shot at the title, and if I do get that shot, I'm going to bring it home.
We wish you good luck in both fields.
Thank you very much, Chris, and it's really nice talking with you.
Looking a lot older than his 32 years, Quarry was described by one sports writer as looking like a rusty, worn-out, one-armed bandit. Zanone would win every round, and Jerry was being humiliated by a lesser fighter.
In between rounds, Quarry's trainer implored him to close the show. He said, "You've got to go for the knockout. It's coming back. It's coming back."
All right, as Chris has already indicated, we're with the man, a champion in his own right. Frank, quite candidly, it's kind of sad to see so nice a young man as Quarry getting this kind of beating.
I agree, Howard. I think, well, he knows his own life, and apparently he decided he either needed it badly or he decided to just take another shot at it. But I hate to see it. I agree with you.
Frank Sinatra as we go into the ninth round. Lorenzo Zanone in the white trunks. Quarry trying to bounce back in the eighth round. Trying here again. Zanone missing it. Quarry. Sneak punch, and I can't believe it. Zanone down, taking the eighth count. Now Quarry, he hits it with a flexing ball, and Zanone, apparently tired of all the dancing and jabbing and punching in the earlier rounds, just can't take a punch. The punches were not that hard. They're not down here in the ninth round. And that, there's a sign of it on Quarry's part, missing by a mile. About 40 seconds to go in this ninth round. Zanone may get away after being... He walked right into a right hand, he's down. He's down above us here. Zanone listening to the count by referee Joey Giambra. No, it's all over. Jerry Quarry has come back in the eighth and ninth rounds as he tries again toward the heavyweight title. He has a long way to go.
The return to glory would be short-lived. Quarry would remain out of the ring for 6 years before returning at age 38 to campaign in the newly formed cruiserweight division. Another 7 years would pass before Quarry would step in the ring again. Presumed retired, Quarry was inspired by George Foreman's successful comeback and announced his own return. He would apply for a boxing license in Wisconsin, but was denied. Insisting on a return, Quarry found a state that would license him: Colorado. Here he would take on Ron Cranmer, a nondescript journeyman with a 3-4 record.
He was missing the accolades. His brother James said that Jerry would walk around the house whispering to himself, "I'm going to be a hero again. I'm going to be a hero again."
It was one of the saddest sights in the history of boxing. Quarry did nothing. He just let the guy pound away on him for all 6 rounds. Quarry was 45 years old, but looked like 70 in there. To add insult to injury, he only got paid $1,000.
By the mid-1990s, his mental capacity had completely deteriorated.
Jerry could no longer shave on his own or even tie his shoelaces. He began experiencing hallucinations, hearing voices, and would cry without provocation.
In 1999, he would be hospitalized for pneumonia and die 5 days later from cardiac arrest. Quarry was 53 years old. A lot of fans will look at the end of Jerry Quarry's life and see his demise as a cautionary tale, a sad casualty of a brutal sport. But Jerry Quarry thought otherwise, saying that if he could do it all over again, he would. Boxing's hard-luck warrior realized it was better to live like a lion, however brief, than spend a lifetime living like a lamb.